Alright, what's up guys, it's Zero here, and we're here for the start of the month first impression of the new set. As of recording, the new set's been out for 3-ish days, and I've had played with some of the stuff, so I'm here to give you guys my first impression of the new stuff, so without further ado, let's get started. So, first off, we'll just go in order, just in order of the clans here. So first off is Royals. Royals, we were expecting Brave cards, Brave being the keyword for Royals, but we actually did not get any of that. We instead got the Transcending the Heavens Alt Mile, which is a really good card. So this skill is on place. If your heart is an Alt Mile, you can CV1, G flip. Which was a G Persona flip? I actually don't remember. I think it was G Persona flip. Give me 1 second to confirm. I do not remember this card's a G flip or not. No, it is flip anything. So CB1 flip anything to have him gain the following 2 skills. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, you call any grade 2 from your deck and give that unit 5k, and your front row gets plus 2k per copy of the Aerial Divinite Outmile in your G zone. This card, Aerial Divinite being the GR from set 4, so buff power, multi-attack extender. Using this dude, you can call, like, the simple line that I can see is you can use this skill to call a Benizel or a what's that card called? The Violinist, and that Violinist can call a Twin Sword. That card can swing. Twin Sword can swing. Call another card and just do cool stuff like that. So definitely a very powerful finisher for Royals, and definitely a card you want multiples of. I'd say 2 is probably the best, just because you probably won't be, you'll probably never go into more than 2, but you definitely want at least 1 of this card, and ideally 2 of this card. And the rest of the stuff we got is all Alfred support. I don't know what any of the cards do. I know this is the this card Legions with the Canaanites Alfred, the card from original set 1. This is Alms, I think. This is like Blaster Blade, but not Blaster Blade, because yeah, this is Alms. I don't know what any cards do. I don't care. I just know these cards are not very good. Something to note is this grade 1 actually. This card has a skill that gives like Alfred like 1k. Who cares about this? The important part is that this card has resist on it. It's just a 7k vanilla resist. If you've played Royals at all, you will notice that all the grade 1s are really bad. So this card just being a vanilla resist is actually pretty good. So I think this card is actually definitely splashable in something like Alt Mile, just as a booster that basically can't die. And other than that, Royal is basically like 1 card. They got the Transcending Alt Mile. Next up, another clan that got like basically no cards is the Neo Nectar. They got the Asha in Glorious Bloom. So we got the Glorious Bloom Asha and the Thuria is this card. So the Asha skill is once per turn, if your heart is a Ranunculus, so an Asha. I don't know why it's Ranunculus and not Asha, but regardless, if your heart is technically an Asha but a Ranunculus, flip anything face up to call a card the same name as one of your other units. And until end of turn, all the units with the same name as that unit get plus 5k for each face-up copy of the Dream Spinning Asha in your G zone that's face-up. So the again, the GR Asha from set 4. So they need you to play more copies of those, because they want you to have copies of those cards, which is yeah. But yeah, regardless, it's okay. It's called a card. And then a GB2, if there's a rear guard the same name as this unit, all your units with the same name as that unit, including itself, get plus crit. So basically your entire front row gets crit, which is like cool. But like yeah, because this deck doesn't have access to like retire or like super good multi-attacks or anything like that, if they have double intercept, this basically is just one really big crit Vanguard. If you have someone to do multi-attacks, I think you can get like an extra crit check in, but regardless, I think this card's honestly pretty mediocre. Is it playable? Yes. Is it good? Debatable. I think this card's probably at most a 1 of. 1 of, definitely not 2 of, probably just a 1 of. Maybe not even, to be honest, but yeah. But the Thuria is a really good card though, because this card, the most important skill is that it has resist, and but its actual skills are if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or higher Ranunculus, so Asha. This unit is placed with the same name as all your units, so this card I'm fairly certain this card just gets the name of everything on the board, and then at the start of the main phase, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or higher Asha or Ranunculus, return 1 card the same name as this unit from your drop zone to return this unit to your hand. So, it's cool, I guess. Yeah, this card resists. This card copies name is a pretty cool card. I actually am not too sure how all of these cards work, or how this card works. The wording on this card is like whack as hell. So, and I've never played it. I haven't tried this deck yet. So, yeah. It has resist. At worst, it's a 9k resist, but yeah. Glorious Asha is kind of whatever, probably just the one of this card's good you play because that's resist and it can copy names. So yeah, that's it for Neo Nectar. Next up, we'll do Shadows. They got very little cards as well, but pretty good ones. There's the Kaiden and Hoel. I don't remember which one's which, but I do know that these two let you do like cool multi-attacks. Don't ask me how this works. I haven't tried this at all either, but I'm sure I know these cards are supposed to be pretty good. I also know they're like a counter charge engine, so in my initial drafts I wasn't gonna play these two, so yeah. Don't ask me about the exact skill either. I just know that these cards are pretty good. But there's these two. I know this card's really good. The Dark Saga Painter. Its skill is on place if your Vanguard is a Diablo, draw one, ditch one. Unfortunate, or I don't remember the order of it was draw one first or ditch one first, but regardless, it's like an on place filter. Unfortunately, it's mandatory, so you have to do this even if you don't want to. But the reason why this card is so good is for its other skill. While it's in your deck and in your drop zone, if your Vanguard is a Diablo, this unit gets neg1 grade, or -1 grade. So meaning this card counts as a grade 1. Meaning if your Vanguard is a Diablo, this card, any card that asks you for like call a grade 1, search a grade 1, or whatever, this card counts as a grade 1 because that's like Shadow's whole like gimmick, right? It's gimmick more or less that they call grade 1s and stuff. So this card is a grade 1 in all parts of all zones other than board, in which case it wouldn't even matter at that point. So meaning you can call this off any skill that asks for only grade 1, so this card's really good. Technically it works in any Shadow Paladin deck because as long as you stride into a Diablo, whether it be a Spectral Blaster Diablo or Phantom Blaster Diablo, your Vanguard still has Diablo name, meaning it still counts as a grade 1. So for example, if you're on a Claret Sword and you stride Spectral or Phantom Blaster Diablo, this thing will count as a grade 1, meaning you can't call it off as something like off of Claret's what's that card? Claret's strat bonus skill. So yeah, really good card, really good card. I'm gonna start with the Vortimir. His skill is GB2. Excuse me. His skill is GB2. When you stride a Diablo, you can call a grade 1 or you can call a grade 1 from your deck, and if the thing you stride specifically is a Spectral Diablo, you can call an additional grade 1, and then at the end of turn those units get plus 3k. And then on play CB1, call a grade 1 from your deck. So this is the thing you want to be riding if you're striding into the Phantom Blaster, not Spectral Blaster Diablo. So yeah, it's like a pretty good card. You get to call a bunch of cards with it, which is pretty nice. And finally, we have the Spectral Blaster Diablo, the main GR for Shadows. The main stride here, hit skill is once per turn, flip anything from your G zone and retire a rearguard to gain the following ability: GB3 once per turn. At the end of battle, attack the Vanguard. CB2, retire 2 rears, stand this, draw 1, and it gets neg2 drives. And if your G zone has a face-up copy of itself, you get a crit. And then if you have a Diablo Heart, you can call a grade 1 from your deck as well. So Diablo Heart being either the Vortimir we just talked about or the Blaster Dark Diablo, which is doesn't have as much synergy with this card, but still works in the sense of this skill. So pretty nice. And because this is the Diablo, you could call this off of the if your Heart is Diablo, you can call a grade 1 from your deck. You can call that to do extra multi-attacks and all that stuff. So resetting Vanguard, pretty good with the Hearts overall, so you can do cool multi-attacks with it as well. Seems pretty nice. I haven't tried this myself because it's only one Spectral Blaster Diablo so far, but I do think this deck will be at least playable. I don't know if it'll be better than Revengers or not, but I do think this deck has very high potential. You'll definitely look out for this deck. Shadows, Kargoro. This is something I have tested. They got a bunch of cards actually, but most of them are irrelevant. Like this PG. This is the draw drop filter PGs. Irrelevant, don't play this. Garbage. This card's pretty good though. The Tar, so its skill is Soul Blast once per turn, Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1. GB1, you pay the cost, and you give a unit plus 4k, and then you also give it the skill. Vanguard Rear, when the unit attacks a Vanguard, check out 5, add a grade 3 to your hand. Grade 3 or higher to your hand. So it helps you dig for Stride Fodder, helps you dig for re-rides, because Legend does have a good on-ride skill. Helps you dig for ride targets for like a break ride for playing those. And yeah, just an overall pretty good card. It's played, I think at this point it's played pretty much in like almost every deck except for something like Blade Master, I guess, because in the cross, this card is a Soul Blast out, and it helps you dig for more copies of Dosh Persona Blast, because this skill, although using it itself is a once per turn, but the skill you give to a unit is not once per turn. So for example, if you give this to something like the cross and you hit, you attack your Vanguard, you hit, you restand, or you give the skill to Vanguard to it like the cross that's Legion with Dote, you swing, you search. and then say you don't Persona Blast, you stand and you swing again, you get to use the skill again because this skill itself is not once per turn. So very good. Very good card. Helps you dig for stuff. Helps you soul stuff out. In the Legend, again, helps you dig for more stuff to add to hand. So yeah, really good card. I definitely think that non-Blade Master variants of Kargoro will probably play this card because Blade Master doesn't really need extra grade 3s or anything. So yeah, pretty good card. Some of these are like Seal Dragon cards, which are pretty bad. This card's pretty bad. Then Halem's okay. GB1. During your turn, if your Vanguard's an Overlord, it gets plus 2k and the following ability. When you're grade 4 or higher Vanguard attacks, it gets plus 5k. So this card doesn't require this skill don't once per turn. So if you're grade 4 or higher Vanguard swing, i.e. probably Overlord, is swing multiple times, this thing gets power multiple times. So this thing can get really, really fat. At worst, it's an 11k soul attacker, which is very nice. But in really good scenarios, this card is like 30-40k power swing over heal card. So pretty good card. Then there's the Berserk Lord. His skill is GB1. When you're grade 4 or higher Vanguard swings, you can CB1 to retire when your opponent's grade 2 or lower rear guards. It's okay, CB1 retire. Surprise only a common, but this card doesn't see that much play, so I guess it does warrant only being a common. And then next up we have Draconic Overlord, the Legend. So we'll go over the skill that actually matters first, the on-ride skill. Vanguard Circle, on place, Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1. To check top 5 and add a Flame Dragon from one of them to your hand. So Flame Dragon, the important things you need to know, basically all your grade 3s. A lot of your rears, a lot of your grade 2s are Flame Dragon as well. In an Overlord centric deck, Burning Horn, the 12k is a Flame Dragon. Bellicosity is a Flame Dragon. Berserk's a Flame Dragon. Burnout's a Flame Dragon. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but a lot of those, if it looks like a dragon, it's probably a Flame Dragon. As for grade 1s, Stride Fathers are Flame Dragons, and PGs are Flame Dragons. So you can add all of those to your hand. So very, very good skill. So you actually do have merit in rewriting, because if you rewrite, you can dig for like extra like PGs, intercepts, all that good stuff. So yeah, very good card. And I forgot to go over its other skill, right? But its other skill is GB2, once per turn, CB1, discard a grade 3 or higher Flame Dragon from your hand to give him plus 1500 power, plus a drive, and plus a grade. The grade part is relevant for stuff like Berserk Lord and Halem. And he also gets the following ability: once per turn, after battle that this unit attacks, you can discard 3 cards, stand this unit, draw 3. So it's an extra Vanguard reason that works at anything. That works when swinging at anything. Ditch 3 is pretty hefty, but you do draw 3 back, so it is a break even. If you notice, this entire skill is a break even. You discard a grade 3 to draw, because you draw one back off from this skill. Forgot to mention that, but yeah, you discard grade 3 Flame Dragon, get all this, and you get to draw it back. And then you ditch 3 to draw 3. So yeah, overall pretty good card. Deck out is definitely the biggest concern with this, because you are turboing through your deck really fast. But other than that, if you're playing Legions to prevent that, or if you're scared of that, then this card is actually really good, because extra face attack, this thing is really big. You can filter out the stuff you don't want to try to dig for better cards. And the on-ride skill is a really, really good skill. Like if it's your first ride, this is just straight up +1, so it's really, really good. So yeah, definitely a really good card. The Legend is definitely a very good card. And the cards that are not so good are the Strides, unfortunately. First up is the Vortex Desire. Very nice art. I think this card looks really cool, but unfortunately its skill is not so cool. I think this card's skill is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, flip anything from your G-Zone face up to gain the following ability. On hit, for every heart you have, you can retire grade 1 or grade 2 or lower rear guard. Then, if you have 2 or more hearts, you can, and your opponent has 4 or less damage, you can ping them for 1. So, in the TCG, this card was retire 1 per Flame Dragon on your Vanguard. Now, they basically are saying that if you're in Legion, this card gets that effect, as well as an additional ping on top of it. But it's an on-hit ping, so it's kind of awkward, because to hit them, basically only works when you hit them from 3, because you hit them from if they're at 3 damage, push them to 4, and the ping pushes them to 5. But yeah, this card basically just back row. Basically, it's a flip that retires back row and can sometimes ping for playing Legion decks. But overall, this card is kind of not that good. I don't think this card's really good. I think if you just want a back row removal, Mustafa or Mahmoud are still the better choices. And then the GR is the Novell Stride, Novell La Express or something like that, I think is the name of this card. But its skill is GB2 on place, CB1, G-Flip. Gain the following 2 skills. It gets the Glory Guard restrict, where your opponent has to PG. If you want to use PG, they have to guard with the grade 3 as well. and then if either plays at 5 damage, null all triggers. So just like the original novel. Guard Restrict is cool, I guess. Give something like Blade Master an alternate way to end the game. I think it's basically only good in Blade Master, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, this card is okay, I guess. I definitely don't think it's anything you should go out of your way to get. Obviously, it's a G flip, so you want to use it. You have to have at least 2. And I will definitely say you probably only want 2 at most. I think 4 is definitely way too much. So yeah, this card is playable. It's okay. It gives Kargoro like the threat of this card. Like even if you're not playing it, if your opponent is good at the game, they will play around this card in case you are playing it in your G zone. I think that is enough of a threat to make this card worth talking about. Just because like even if this card's skill isn't that amazing, it's basically just a glory restrict that doesn't have a crit on it. The fact that this card exists means your opponent has to play around it, which is a good thing. So yeah, skill itself isn't very good, but the threat of this card existing is good. So yeah, that's it for Kargoro. We're going for Royals, Shadows, Kargoro. That's what we call it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gears and Link Joker. Link Joker has the most cards. I'll go over that last. So Gear Chronicle. So Gears got Time Leap this set. The most relevant card here by far is the Metallica Phoenix. Vanguard Circle, Time Leap. This unit attacks the Vanguard. If you have a Chrono Jet Heart, CV1, flip anything to Time Leap one of your rears, and then if you have a face-up copy of itself in your G-Zone face-up, you countercharge 1. So if I remember correctly, in the TCG, this card was CV0. So basically they're saying, go pull 2 copies to make it as if it were the same thing as TCG, but kind of scummy move. But aside from that, this card's pretty good because Time Leap means you get an extra attack. You have an extender with that card being the History Maker, which we'll go over right after this. Yeah, this card is very good. The thing that I like most about this card is that, unlike Next Stage, it generates you more attacks with the proper extenders without having you to discard 3 cards out of your hand. And yeah, I think this card replaces Next Stage as your finisher. Not locked behind GB2 either, so this could technically be your first ride as well, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, very versatile card. Is a good finisher, can be your first ride. Just overall a very good card to have. So definitely recommend like probably 2 copies of this card. Then you got a bunch of other cards. I don't remember what all these cards do. I know the grade 3s are all kind of whatever. This thing is when you Time Leap, when you check a grade 3, you can Time Leap this card. This card in the TCG used to have Resist. They got rid of it, so I do think this card lost out on a lot of value because if this card came in 1-1, you'd probably play this over Ishin because Ishin's Restrict skill basically didn't do anything, nor her other skill actually basically didn't do anything. This card would be Resist plus a relevant skill, but alas, we did not get him with a Resist on it, so probably don't play this anymore. Clock Fencer lets you Time Leap another rear on play from hand, so that's pretty cool, pretty good, I guess. Same thing with this guy. On play from hand, Time Leap something. And then the relevant cards for sure is the History Maker. So his skill is GB1 Time Leap has Time Leap keyword on it when the unit attacks the Vanguard. CV1 to Time Leap point for other rears, meaning you can extend extra attack with it, which is really good. But it's very simple skill, but very good skill. And the other triple workout is the Mellum. So she is basically a upstream but 1 grade lower. So how Mellum works is GB1 when she attacks the Vanguard, you can have her gain 4k. If she gains 4k for that turn, if you gave her the power, you put her back to your deck and call grade 0 from your deck as rest. So they want you to be using it with the Urwater, I think is his name, but I don't like this card. I think the best application for this card is to just call like a Doki Doki, so you can shove it into Soul for an extra draw and for a Soul. So I think that's that. But I think the biggest issue with Mellum isn't herself. I think this card is like a very serviceable card. I think the issue with this card is just how zero works. You have to play like 13 triggers specifically for heal cards, which you don't want to be calling. You obviously have the 4 Chrono Jets in this deck, so you're left with like 5 slots where if you play like a bunch of zeros to make Mellum work, you're for 1 not playing draws, and for 2 you are lowering the amount of Stride Fighters in your deck to make her work, which is very awkward. So just comes the matter of like you have to find like that ratio between like, oh, I want to play this many zeros to make sure that Mellum has a target that isn't a heal guard, as well as still having Stride Fodder since up the ride. So I definitely think that this card is a good card, but it's fucked over by zero mechanics. So yeah, I definitely think you either play for this card, because I think this card is a fine like little engine to build around with either like this dude or the Doki Doki. But I think that This card definitely feels like a 4-0. You either play it or you don't. So yeah, that's it for Gears. Overall, I think that Time Leap cards are kind of whatever. I think Phoenix is a good card. I think History Maker is a good card. I think like Melum's like a cool build around. But other than that, I think the Time Leap cards are overall kind of whatever. They also got Chrono Drain, but I've been playing with it, and I don't like the Time Leap cards, so I'm just kind of play it as a starter just to play around, see if it can do anything. And because I'm not focusing on specifically Time Leap, Drain has done absolutely nothing for me. So yeah. Overall, Time Leap cards cool, but probably not. Overall, probably worse than like the actual like good cards in Gear so far, except for like History Maker and Phoenix. And finally, we have Link Joker. They actually got a bunch of support, but it's very like mixed bag. They got a bunch of deleter support, and then a few cards for Chaos. So I'll be blunt. I think the deleter cards are cool. I played around the deck. It's very fun, but it's not good like at all. I think it's just a very like fun deck to play around with. But overall, I don't think it's like anything special or anything. If you don't know, they play for this whole like Vanish Delete gimmick now with these cards. You don't know how the Vanish Delete works, and you bind a card from their drop zone at random face down, and then their payoff is the Igorg, and the payoff is the Igorg, and if you hit 13 Vanish Delete, and if you hit 13 Vanish Deletes in their bind zone, you win the game. So very, very cool gimmick to play around. It's definitely very fun, but good is not how I would describe this. But it's there. Igor gets the payoff here. You got a bunch of good support. Most of these cards say something about Vanish Delete. This guy calls this guy the Vanguard's deleted, and you can do cool stuff with it. Your new rides are like Grey Doll and Greyon, but too many cards for me to go over, which I just don't think is worth my time because I don't think these cards are like particularly good or anything. But cards that I do think are pretty good is the Chaos support. So Chaos got its like own like archetype here, and they got some pretty good cards. First off is Zinc. I don't play TCG myself, but I know this card's banned in the TCG in Premium, so this goes to show you how good this card is, and it's pretty good in 0-2. If your Vanguard is a Chaos and they have a locked card, put her into Soul charge 2, counter charge 2. So you have extra Soul to draw with Chaos, you have extra Counterblast to work with now. It's a Starvader name, and you can call her off something like Colony Maker. Overall, very, very good card. Very, very good card. That being said, you don't need too many of her in your deck. You only really need to call one because you only ever want to resolve one, just because you use too much, you will deck yourself out because the Soul Charge 2 is mandatory and you don't want to be Soul Charging your entire deck. So you'll play multiples to make sure you see the one, but yeah, regardless of that, very good card. This guy, I don't know his name, but I know he's a very good card. If you're and I think this is probably the reason to play Chaos to begin with, because this guy's skill is absolutely amazing. So the first skill is during your turn, if your Vanguard is a Chaos, plus 2k, already really good. Solo attacker, very nice. And on place, if your Vanguard is a Chaos and they have a locked card, CV1 to lock anything. So as long as they have a locked card, this card is CB1 to lock something else. Very, very good. Solo attacker, very, very good. Put the two together, very good card. I'm surprised the card was not a triple rare, to be honest. But yeah, this card is very good, and if you're playing Chaos, is absolutely a 4 of no questions asked. Next off, we also got Infinite Zero support, but these cards are all terrible, so I'm not going to bother looking at these. Just thought I'd mention it, but the other piece of support we got in the main deck is the Chaos Bringer. So his skill is Limerick 4. At the end of your turn, if your opponent has a locked card, you can CB1 to ride a Chaos Breaker Dragon from your deck, so the Chaos we all know and love. And on place, CB1 lock one of your opponent's back row rear guards. So I actually think this card is both good and bad. I think this card is your best first ride, just because the on-place lock means once you lock something with the back row for the CB1, because your first ride is horrendous. It's Judgment Messiah, which is an on-hit. And sometimes you just need something locked in the main phase to proc all your other skills, being like the grade 2 or something like Colony Maker. This guy gets you that one lock you need for cheap to let you start locking other stuff. Really good. And the Limerick 4 skill lets you rewrite Chaos Breaker to get back to your main ride when you need to. So I definitely see them wanting you to ride this, lock some things, start your toy engine going, and then with your Limerick 4, you rewrite the Chaos Breaker from deck. But the issue with this is that it needs to wait till the main phase, meaning if you heal out on your turn from 4 to 3, you don't get the rewrite skill anymore, which is really bad. But this card still does have Chaos in name, meaning you don't turn your deck up if you do ride it, which is really good. So I definitely do think that if you're playing Chaos, this is absolutely a 4. Very good card. And finally, the big bad strat for Chaos is the Death Star Vader Chaos Universe. its skill is once per turn, CB1 G flip. So unfortunately, it's a G flip. But he gains the following 2 skills. If your heart is a chaos, at the start of your opponent's turn, they choose 1 card from their hand and place it into a rear guard circle as lock. And if you have 2 or more face-up cards in your G zone, lock one of your opponent's cards. So hand lock is pretty cool, pretty nice. But honestly, it's not like the biggest thing in the world. They probably just locks it in the back row, but its other skill is pretty good because you just get to lock a card. This card is basically just a glorified big crunch. So I will say that if you're playing pure chaos, you probably do want 4 of it just because the hand lock is overall more impactful than just locking a column. But this card is you can definitely just get away 2 of it if you have 4 big crunch from set 3 because they are basically the same card. I do think that this deck's biggest issue is the lack of a good first ride. But Universe itself is a overall pretty solid card. Yeah. So that's it for all the cards that I thought were worth going over. Just an impression of all the decks. I think Spectral is probably fine. Alt Mal is probably fine. Gears are very weird, but I'm sure they are good. Asha, I think, just like cool. I guess they got resist basically. What am I thinking? What did I forget? I forgot something. I know that for a fact. Legend is pretty cool. That's what I forgot. Legend Overload is a pretty good deck now. The leaders are fun, and I think Chaos is definitely not as broken as you might think it would be with hand locker and lock and all that stuff. I definitely think Chaos is a very because this is the deck that I actually do have finished. I actually played around it quite a bit. I think this Chaos is probably one of the more like, and the fine deck is nowhere near broken or anything. So yeah, fine deck. I think all these decks are fine, but I also don't think any decks are like overly broken or anything unless I missed something. So yeah, that's it for this video. Tell me what you think about all this set down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.